Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Birds. My name is Bree.
And I'm Alice.
And today we are going to be talking about Chicken Journey. Alice, do you mind telling us a little bit about Chicken Journey?
Absolutely. So Chicken Journey was released in August of 2023. The developer is Loonyware, which is a, quote, married couple of developers with two cats. And for the record, the two cats' name are Dante and Kira, which is readily available on their website.
My cat's name is Dante.
That is a beautiful coincidence. It's meant to be.
I love that.
The genre of this game is a platformer, so you are a chicken who jumps around and solves puzzles. It's a single-player game, and you can play it on PC and Switch. The standard price is $5. Bree, you actually picked this game. Can you tell me a little bit about why you picked it?
To be honest, chickens are one of my favorite animals. I don't know why. I just think they're very silly and sassy, and it is my life's goal and dream to own chickens one day. But yeah, I kept seeing this, and I believe I also found this through the summer sale. It just looked very cute and kind of in the line of us trying new games that we don't normally play. This is another platformer, so I was really excited. I was like, okay, chickens, something new. It looks very adorable. It's a little chicken with a backpack. Thankfully, this game right off the bat, there is a demo, a pretty nice demo of just the kind of first mission where you have to find a couple of chicks. So I played that and I thought it seemed really fun. It seemed like a very simple, short game, and I thought we would dig into it.
So speaking of simple and short, unfortunately, neither of us actually were able to 100% the game or fully beat the game in the time we allotted ourselves to play it. I did get over halfway through, so I got decently through. Bree, how far did you get?
I believe I was just behind you. So I want to say I was like at about the 50% mark. I think realistically, I've been playing for about 4 hours, I would say.
Okay.
So not as short as I thought.
No, yeah, I'm 3.5 hours in, and yeah, I'm just ahead of you. And I didn't walk away from the computer, so I pretty much sped through some of the parts.
The art style, it's all pixely. It reminds me very much of Stardew Valley. The music also reminds me a little bit of Stardew Valley. It's very bright. It's very cute. And actually, I think the chicken looks a lot like the chickens from Stardew Valley.
They do.
I feel like they look almost identical.
I definitely agree. I think they look very much like Stardew Valley chickens. The main chicken's super cute. He has a backpack. People love commenting on his backpack. And it is a pixel art 2D side scroller. Pretty standard for a platformer, but definitely very cute, bright art.
Well, the general plot of this is that you are trying to figure out if the chicken or the egg came first. I believe that is like the overarching thing. It's a kind of minor thing. It just kind of drives why you're going forward. So you start in your little town. You have to meet the mayor to kind of get a little more information. The mayor asks you to do a couple tasks around town to help out the villagers while he figures out some information for you. That's a nice intro to kind of the mechanics of the game, the general platforming, also just the hilarious villagers that you live with. There's a little Bob Ross chicken who is very sweet. There's a goth chicken that Alice really liked.
Yes, I did take screenshots of the goth chicken. His name is George. I have 2 quotes from George. He says, "We all go a little mad sometimes," which is very Alice in Wonderland. And he also says, "I don't live in darkness. The darkness lives in me." So definitely pro goth chicken all day. George is #1 character.
He also has a very beautiful little black little house, a very gothic house. It suits him well. And he has a little wife I think he lives with and a baby, if I'm not mistaken. I love that for
he's
George.
got a whole
He's living
family.
his best life. Yeah. There's lots of exploring to do in the village if you want to. I actually noticed one of the houses I went into has a bunch of modern art in the upper level, and it's just chicken versions of art in the real world. There was like a chicken with a pearl earring, the melting clocks by Salvador Dali, just with chickens instead. And I just thought that was a very cute little detail.
Yes, I'm glad you noted that because that was one of my favorite things about the first area as well. So lots of little Easter eggs if you explore and click on things. Lots of cute artsy pieces throughout the little levels. Nothing consequential, but I love the little cute details like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely there if you seek it out. I'm definitely the type of gamer where I like to explore everything. If the game is telling me to go to the right, I'll be like, well, let me check the left first. So naturally, when I was in the village, I went into every single house. I talked to every single person, I mean chicken, which I would recommend doing because the chickens are very adorable and very sweet.
Some of the parts are pretty easy, but definitely got stuck a couple times. And I would have spent even longer on it if I wasn't easily frustrated and easily bored that I admittedly looked up the answers to a couple of pieces so far. I just get way too easily frustrated with platformers where I will try a few times and then either I'm going to rage quit and not pick it up again, or I could just look it up. So I did do that a couple times.
No shame in that, because honestly, I had to do that too. I think only twice, to be honest. And I was kind of afraid because I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find like a standardized walkthrough for this game. Like, it's a small indie game. But I actually found a lot of nice playthrough videos. So the part that I got confused on is there's a part where you go to the overgrown garden and there's a mechanic. You put the berries in this little apparatus and it changes some of the vines and how they act in the level. And when that first happened, I didn't realize that that was doing anything. So I was very, very confused. I had to look it up. I was like, oh, I did the right thing. I just wasn't looking around me well enough. I did want to mention there's a bit of like game design that I really, really love in the overgrown garden. This is like a tiny, tiny spoiler. And I'm actually interested, Alice, if you experienced the same thing I did. A farmer asks you to go into his garden because he lost his watering can. When you go into the garden, you see immediately that the watering can is being guarded by this gigantic plant with a big old mouth. So it looks kind of scary. And when you finally get to that part of the level, there is a box that you can peck down and smash that plant with. I'm curious, Alice, did you go that route or did you talk to the plant?
I am a terrible person and I smashed the box on his head.
Oh no.
I regret it.
What did he say? Because that is not what I did.
He just said ow and like was like, hey, that wasn't very nice and we should just like talk it out or something like that. I don't remember exactly. We just ended up, I'm assuming, had the same dialogue if you just talk to him, but with like something in the beginning that reveals that you don't need to be violent in this game. You're not really going around killing things or jumping on other animals to squish them. You're solving problems in ways that don't require violence.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, I think what you did makes complete sense, because when you get to that part, that's what the game sets you up to do, because you have a rope with a box right above that plant's head. You can peck the rope to make it fall on him. And that's kind of the obvious trajectory of that scene. And when I saw that, I was like, I wonder if I could talk to him. Worst case scenario, I guess he hurts me and I'll just do it again. But he was really pleased to talk to me. He was a very emotionally intelligent plant. He was very sweet. He mentioned that he likes the farmer so much and that he wanted to give him his watering can back, but he hasn't seen him in a while. And then I give him a big hug and he feels very understood. It was very sweet. It actually made me a little emotional because I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't judge a book by its cover. He was actually a very nice plant. It was a very sweet moment. And I just love that the game sets you up to like kind of make the wrong choice. And you had to like actually sit for a second and be like, okay, maybe I don't do this here. Maybe I don't need to hurt this person. And as you mentioned, a really nice learning opportunity for you as a player to be like, hey, you don't have to be violent in this game. Like, this is not a game where I have to attack enemies that I see. I can be a little more defensive. I can maybe just talk and see if we can figure that out. And I just think that it was so lovely.
For sure. And I mean, the worst case scenario here is when you die, you go back to your last save point. There's little books all around the maps that are save points, and they're everywhere. And they do also work in a way where I could set up maybe a mechanic and then save again at the same one. And then if I died, then it would be back to where I last saved it. So very helpful, very easy to be right back where you were. I think if that mechanic was not there and I wasn't able to like quickly just try again most of the levels, I don't think I would have even gotten halfway through this game. I would have rage quit way sooner.
That's one of my biggest notes on this. And I love that there are plentiful checkpoints. So like most platformers, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to overshoot a jump. You're just going to mess up. So it's nice because the game is still challenging, arguably very challenging in some areas, but it doesn't feel like such a punishment because you're never going to go so far back that you're like, well, I'm not doing this again.
I agree, other than I almost didn't pick up this game again at the end of the water temple. You have to jump perfectly from ladder to ladder in a lot of particular ways. And I didn't think that the puzzles themselves were difficult, but the jumping, just like literally trying to jump accurately, I struggled so hard at the end of that level. And I eventually just had to like walk away for a minute and take a breath and come back and do it. But it is usually reasons like that for why I don't play a lot of platformers. I just get a little frustrated and I don't know, I want to throw my controller across the room. It's a very unlike me for most other games.
No, honestly, I understand that completely. The water temple is like the second major area you go to. And for a little bit of context, again, just kind of giving the overall like very adorable vibe of this game, what you're trying to do, I believe it's a frog village, if I'm not mistaken. You're going to a frog village and you need to help them put on this like awesome pool party. But the water's not flowing. That's not working. We need to fix their pool party. So we got to go to the water temple to make sure things are working right. And then they'll be able to help us on our quest as well. One already adorable setup. I love frogs in general. So I was like, okay, wow, this game was tailor-made for me. I got frogs. I got chickens. What else could I possibly want? raccoons, but that's okay. So up until that point, the game is not super, super challenging. It does scale up quite a bit in the water temple, exactly for the reason that you're saying. The puzzles, it did take me a little bit because again, I'm not great with puzzles. I'm certainly not great with platforming, but I was able to get most of the things on like after I sat and thought about it for a moment, especially the part you were just talking about. It is very precision jumping. I found that when you jump, you have to be like exactly dead center of the ladder in order for you to grab it properly. And yes, I died so many times. And actually, that was the one part where I thought there could have been maybe one more checkpoint. There's a lot of nuances to the water temple in terms of like challenge and like moving some things around, but I still found it fun. The checkpoints were very helpful. So, but I understand completely because that is the exact reason that I stay away from platformers as well. Like I think back to like, I guess this is a dated reference, but Super Meat Boy, if that's what that game is called, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like a super punishing platformer. It's not like that.
Luckily, right after the water temple, actually, I really enjoyed the sort of a second half to the frog story where the pool party still isn't quite ready yet. And you need to make sure there are bubbles at the pool party. This is a serious pool party. Okay, they have a DJ. You have to go get some ingredients in order to make the bubbles. And that is when you meet the mosquitoes. And again, you're not being violent against the mosquitoes, but it is a Metal Gear Solid mechanic. So they are essentially acting as like guards, like you would see in Metal Gear Solid. And they have a little exclamation point, makes a little do if they see you. So you're trying to do a lot of stealth and platforming at the same time. I actually super enjoyed that part. I appreciated that it was a little bit less about perfect jumping and a little bit more about thinking and trying to solve a sort of real-time puzzle. Wasn't necessarily that hard either, but that part was fun for me. Brie, I don't know that you had the same reaction to it.
Yeah, maybe I didn't have quite as much fun with that as you did. I will say I was kind of still just like learning that mechanic when I paused. On that note, I think the different mechanics of this game, super fun. The different variety of puzzles. In the Overgrown Garden, you have the introduction of the different berries, I believe they are. There's red, blue, and yellow. Yellow makes the vines be very bouncy so you can get up to a different level. Blueberries make it freeze so that you can kind of hop on top of the vines to get somewhere else. The red, I believe, just makes it so that they can kind of alternate so you have an option to jump over them as needed. A lot of those jumps are just kind of timing things. They're not super challenging, but I thought the berries was interesting. I really haven't seen like a mechanic like that where you really have to assess the situation and be like, okay, which berries do I need for right now? I think that's super fun. I also love that you get to meet a woodpecker and the woodpecker teaches you how to peck through thorns, which is another fun, small mechanic. Lots of variety in that. It wasn't like, oh, I have to do this exact same mechanic through the entire thing. It really switches it up throughout.
For sure. It seems like every major level at this point, at least so far, again, I still have a couple more levels to go, but every major level so far has introduced at least one new mechanic. Similar to the berries, the water temple mechanic has like different weights and you have to decide like, which weight do I need to use? There is an additional mechanic, not only with the mosquitoes, but for clucking to get the mosquitoes to like go to a certain direction. There's so far a lot of really fun mechanics that also make sense to the story. Like they feel very natural to the environment you're in and what you're doing. And I think that also makes it a little bit more fun. It's not just like some random power up I got that just makes things easier. Like it's cute and part of the story and really integrated.
Even though it is a platformer and it can be very challenging, it still kind of brings it back to like, you're a silly little chicken on an adventure. And like you said, all of those power-ups are really related to being a chicken. There's one part in particular that I wanted to mention because I just thought it was very adorable. In the water temple, there is a little puzzle you have to solve. And then the camera scrolls up to a jar with a bunch of sand. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what item is in there? I can't wait to get up there and get it. And when you get up there, you take a little dust bath because you're a chicken and who doesn't love a good dust bath? And I just thought that was very, like, there's like those small moments that happen in the game where I'm just like, oh, this is just darling. Like, this is just lovely and very cute and sweet. I understand maybe some people would be frustrated by that, but I was just like, oh, he's just a cute chicken enjoying a bath. And then I got an achievement for it.
Heck yeah. This game, very cute. Very platformer. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to finish it yet. I'm kind of stuck again right now. I'm in an owl and the owls and the squirrels aren't getting along and I'm trying to solve their beef. And I am stuck again, which kind of stinks. And I'll probably just have to look it up. But I'm over halfway through, so I will probably try to finish it out. How about you? What was your final say on this?
I'm definitely going to finish this. I was expecting to like this game, but I liked it so much more than I even anticipated. And especially platforming not being something I'm super used to, puzzles not being something I'm super used to. I still found this very accessible, and the moments that are just very sweet and very wholesome really tie this all together for me. Yes, it is challenging. Yes, sometimes I do need to take a break from it because platformers themselves are just frustrating games. They can be. I never let myself rage too much. And honestly, even the parts where I was getting very frustrated, I was never like, throw my controller. I'm never doing this again. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to take a minute. And honestly, typically when I did that, I would come back like a couple hours later the next day and do it perfectly the first time. So it's like, I just need to chill out, especially for $5. I feel like this is so much content for $5. Alice, you were mentioning you've already played what, about 3.5 hours of this?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. For a $5 game, there's a lot of levels and a lot to do. I mean, it's not a 60-hour game, of course, but for how much there is in here, $5 doesn't feel unreasonable whatsoever. And we bought it on sale for like what, 2, 3?
Oh yeah, you're absolutely Wait, what a freaking steal! Because a small sneak behind the peek behind the curtain. Rather, I feel like anytime we set up games that we want to play, we talk about how many sits it's going to be, and I feel like I was expecting this to be like a 1-2 sitter, but this was actually like a 3 to 4 to 5 one, which was again super pleasant surprise. I love chickens. A chicken on a journey with a little backpack with his chicken friends. Like I feel like there was no world where I wasn't going to like love this game, but again, it really surprised me with how accessible it is, how fun it is, how adorable and sweet the world is. Getting to hug that plant in the beginning and bring that watering can back to the farmer just like warmed my heart. And there was a lot of small moments like that. And I'm just like, this game is just darling. I love it so much. So well worth it for me. I will definitely be going back to it.
Heck yeah. Thanks for picking another cute game. This one was actually fun. Had some frustrations, but I think it was fun. So thanks for picking it.
Thanks for playing it.
Sweet. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks, Bree. See you next time.
Bye.